Welcome back. As we have been discussing throughout the course, coaching is an important operational activity on a team. Coaching will really accelerate team performance. It's part of another triple of activities that must be done, and that is 1, monitoring progress, 2, providing feedback, and 3, coaching. This helps team members link their individual work with the team's mission and goals. Staff will need assistance in using new technology, properly preparing various documents, working in a virtual environment, and working in a multicultural environment. Staff will need feedback on priorities, on performance, on isolation they may be experiencing, and on difficulties. Some of the preliminaries to improve coaching are to have clear priorities. The staff should participate in prioritizing various work tasks. Any changes to priorities should be coordinated with the entire team to prevent people from working at cross purposes, and avoid the easy mistake of prioritizing requests from co-located members over those from distant members. Ongoing coaching and feedback are most effective when done on a frequent basis, when needed, so the team member does not languish waiting to understand how to do something or goes down a wrong path unknowingly. Periodically review priorities, methods, status, roles, expectations, and the staff directory. Establish overlapping office hours, and instruct your staff to support one another. Also, instruct your staff to search the member directory for teammates who might be able to help them. One aspect of coaching is to monitor progress towards reaching goals, and here coaching focuses on overall performance by team members, including their results, their activities, and their behaviors. Leaders can assess whether goals are appropriate, what obstacles may be preventing their accomplishment, and what team members can do to improve their performance in the long term and that of the team as a whole. So contact members about performance issues, missed deadlines, work quality, and their teamwork. Explain the issue to the person. Ask why the issue has happened. Is it distractions, barriers, or something else? Ask if there is something you can do. Ensure they understand the team processes, the roles and responsibilities, and ensure they understand the consequences of continued poor performance. Coaching is different from the more traditional directing and controlling in that a coach does not always give a definitive direction based on the right answer. The coach may not have the answer, but will just recognize something isn't quite right and then work to find someone who can give help. Let's now take a look at barriers to team building that can undermine your efforts to form a team. A global and virtual team must be anchored into its institutional environment. A team does not operate in a vacuum. It is part of the larger organization. There are complex interrelationships and interdependencies with the larger organization. The organization defines policies and regulations and has its goals and mission, and a global virtual team is instituted and operated in the context of this organizational framework. Moreover, the team will interact with a wide variety of stakeholders, and these must be managed to make them supportive of the team effort. Two potential barriers to team building are the absence of organizational support and a conflict over team leadership. A team charter is an important team building document that can circumvent these barriers. A well-prepared team charter officially defines the mission of the team, the resources and authority granted the team, and the team leader. It's a symbol of organizational support for the team and the team leader. We keep bringing up culture, but that is because it's important. A multinational virtual team is separated by geography, culture, and possibly language. In this setting, team management must establish collaborative working relationships, which is difficult with a co-located team, but encounters additional challenges with multinational teams. Nevertheless, the team manager must establish collaboration among the multinational team members. This requirement is essential because the Standish Group found that weak collaboration was the primary cause of increased failures by global virtual teams. In the past, organizations were co-located and in a very strong sense defined by geography. Today, that is not possible. Today, they must be defined by purpose. Increased management cost is another weakness with a global virtual team. There is an added overhead cost in managing staff in different time zones. Moreover, differing cultural attitudes must be coordinated. Multinational team members are influenced by their national culture and the attitudes and values ingrained by it. Another primary failure factor for international projects is inability to align multiple cultures. There are costs to operating a virtual team that are higher because it is not co-located. Contracting costs, coordination costs, cohesion costs, control costs. In the 20th century, information technology was not as fast as it is today, nor as inexpensive. The decline in cost and increase in functionality is one reason we are seeing an explosion in virtual teaming. As we mentioned in our second lecture on distributed knowledge, 1.3 billion people will participate on virtual teams at any time during the current period. A final weakness in multinational projects done by global virtual teams is distributed knowledge management. Anderson concludes that spatial co-location enhances access to knowledge so that economic value of a co-located activity is enhanced. The history of urbanization is offered as proof of the value added from proximity to knowledge. Nevertheless, Armstrong asserts that the team leader must plan the team structure so that knowledge exchange spans distances. A spatial location enhances knowledge exchange, but tacit knowledge is not always, the requisite knowledge you need is not always co-located. On the other hand, tacit knowledge exchanges are easier in person, but the people that are co-located with you may not have the knowledge that you need. One important measure that a team can take to assist in team building is to establish a team culture. Most teams are assigned projects, and so this is a natural culture to instill in them. Global virtual teams can compensate for national cultural influence by sponsoring a vigorous project management culture. By emphasizing project management attitudes and values, a global virtual team can moderate the influence of a national culture. Research has revealed that a dedicated project management training program improves international project performance by introducing and reinforcing project management attitudes and beliefs. A multinational organization can counterbalance national culture by establishing a strong project management culture. As a subculture, project management can modulate the national culture influences by creating membership attitudes and values specific to projects that global virtual teams will work on. Indeed, Wang and Liu report that project management training helps high-context cultures such as China understand and adapt to Western low-context project management. A strong commitment to project management training improves international project performance. Carmel and Tia recommend the use of liaison positions in international virtual teams as a means of enhancing understanding and to supplement the technology-mediated communications. Likewise, Mintzberg recommends liaison positions to coordinate the work of independent units to expedite knowledge transfer. An integrating manager is a liaison position with formal authority to act on behalf of the central unit. On the other hand, a liaison officer is a liaison position with no formal authority, but one that acts as a communications nexus to interpret and clarify understanding between the remote units. Organizations have created a whole set of devices to encourage liaison contacts between individuals in different organizations. These devices can be incorporated into a team structure. When a considerable amount of contact is necessary to coordinate the work of two units, a liaison position may be established to bypass vertical channels and route communications directly between the units concerned. In your team and your group project this semester, this will be important because you're going to be having Amazon Devices Division develop the driver and for the Android operating system, and that's where their area of expertise is. And the Chinese company Lenovo do the hardware and systems engineering. So that'll require a lot of direct communication. Liaison positions are flexible mechanisms to help encourage informal relationships. They are used where work is complex, horizontally specialized, and highly interdependent. Empowered liaison structures can provide a direct management connection that avoids spanning two or more national chains of command for a team activity. In addition, performance incentives can be employed to motivate national management hierarchies to support this type of international cooperation for your global virtual team projects. Incentives in a balanced scorecard framework combine financial and non-financial measures to guide the organization to accomplish its selected strategies. Non-financial incentives are important, and more important for a collectivist culture where protection and security are just as important or more important than financial incentives. Any step in the communication process can be blocked by some sort of interference or noise. Such noise can be caused by a variety of communication barriers, including perceptual and language differences, restrictive environments, distractions, deceptive communication tactics, and information overload. Misunderstandings based on the nuances of language are often the result of ill-structured communications that lead to confusion. To improve collaboration in international virtual teams, documentation should be carefully structured. In addition, task-related communications should be sent in formal documents that have a standardized structure rather than as emails, which can also be easily lost to the team history. Furthermore, terminology should be precisely defined up front so that a common understanding is associated with important project-related words. These actions can be taken in face-to-face kickoff or synchronization meetings. Some technologies are better for teams with different primary languages. Of the various media choices, email is more attractive for global virtual teams than the phone. The phone may be more personal means of communications, but it is harder to use than email for speakers of other languages. Richer communication media also improves cross-cultural communications. Richness is a medium's ability to transmit multiple information cues, enable personal focus, and enhance feedback. A richer communication medium reduces misunderstandings and confusion in global activities. Using rich communications media is effective for improving collaboration and management of distributed knowledge. The richest communication medium is face-to-face, but it is also the most restrictive because all parties must be present at the same time and at the same place. Email, discussion board, teleconference are not as rich, but they are less restrictive. Social presence is one of the other common dimensions to evaluate different categories of technology. It's the amount of salience or realness that technology brings to the collaboration. It is the technology's ability to convey both verbal and visual cues. It's a progression from lean media like email to teleconferencing, to video conferencing, and to web conferencing. Richness is the provision of multiple channels, a more technical take on presence. But this gives you a greater ability to personalize your message with richness. And all of this, of course, increases the ability to synthesize the divergent views you might have on your team. Social presence is the degree the tool facilitates a personal connection, while richness has to do with the amount and variety of information flowing through the system. Finally, Carmel and Tia recommend staff rotations as another step for integrating resources from different cultures. With staff members from different cultures at each location, the distant locations don't appear so alien. Another approach is to hire bicultural employees with the intent of providing a familiar presence to team members from a distant culture. Finally, intercultural sensitivity training can avoid misunderstandings and confusion in multicultural teams. So that concludes our lecture on building global virtual teams. Thank you.